It is going to be a nerve-wracking night tonight in MLB DFS because my process almost always is to allocate as much salary as possible to pitcher because generally the high-salaried guys are high-salaried for a reason. You want to spend up to get that strikeout upside, get that juice up there, and you want to build around those players. Today, I don't think I can do that because the stacks that I want to get to for today are all high salary, which means we are going to be looking for value at pitcher, which is always very scary. We'll break things down, let you know where I am turning for today in MLB DFS. This is the FanDuel Live Q&A right here on the FanDuel YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter pages. My name is Jim Sonis. I am a senior writer and analyst for numberFire.com, here to answer your questions for the next half hour here on the FanDuel YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter pages. No matter where you are watching, you can get those questions in. We'll take them via the YouTube chat section, also via Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. So whatever is on your mind for today, put those questions in the chat, and we will talk to them or answer them live here on air for today. As a reminder, Erin Dolan is coming up. That is at 4:30 to break down Game 6 between the Hawks and the Bucks. That is tomorrow. She'll break down that from a betting perspective, and it should be a whole lot of fun. But let's start things off here by taking a question from Facebook with William. He is asking, can Lance McCullers get to 6 strikeouts for today? So Lance McCullers facing Cleveland on the road. McCullers in the start since he returned, it's gone 77, 94, and 89 pitches, 21% strikeout rate, facing a low strikeout team. If you are looking to bet a prop, William, I'd probably say stay away from 6. I might go, I don't know if I want to go under there, but I can't get to the over on that one. Just not enough confidence in him since he came back from that injury. Pete Leeson, what's up? He's over on Twitch, Panda P21, saying Gumball. Hello, Pete. Welcome to the FanDuel Live Q&A. Hope you are doing well. Let's talk to Mike. My outfield is Harper, JD Martinez, and Garcia from the Rangers. Winker and Haniger, who do I sit? If you're talking about just for today, I mean, this is mostly a DFS thing, so I would probably be trying to. It'd be tough for me to sit Bryce Harper, JD Martinez, or Garcia. But Winker and Haniger pretty good too. Winker is facing Alec Mills. We have Haniger, the Mariners, facing off with Kyle Gibson. Okay, so I mean, I'd probably just stick with your studs there and feel pretty good with that one. Mike, William, how do you feel about the Astros stack for today? No lineup out yet for the Astros as of yet, but I think overall they will be, I think there's like a cluster of 3 stacks at the top. It is the Astros, the Rockies, and the Cardinals. And that's the reason why I am so focused on trying to identify some lower salary pitchers for today, because I do want to make sure I can allow myself to get to those really, really good stacks for today. So to me, Houston very much in that top tier. Alvin just mentioned that Yordan Alvarez is on paternity leave, so that may mean we get Chas McCormick in the lineup. Chas is tremendous. He is $2,400, a lot of power for a low-salaried guy, so I think that's great. I hope we get him in there. Yuli Gurriel, guy I'm okay using versus lefties too. So William, very on board with the Astros for today, especially if we get Chas McCormick in there as well. Alvin, Rockies bat rankings. Okay, so let's see if the lineup is out here for the Rockies. They have kind of an early game for a Coors start for today, so maybe it is out. Maybe it's come out here in the past couple of minutes. And it's, I scrolled past it, didn't I? Yeah, it's, okay. So we got Tapia, Hampson, Story, Blackman, Rogers. What in the world is this lineup? Okay, so I am just thrown off by 90% of this. Okay, so McMahon's batting 7th again. I know he's in a slump, but he shouldn't be down that far. I'm very upset about this. Okay, so Tapia, Hampson, Story, Blackman, Rogers, Crone, McMahon. Okay, so let's go over here, pull up the Rockies numbers versus righties, and see what we are cooking with. It's worth noting that Johan Oviedo does have pretty regular platoon splits where we do want to favor lefties versus him over righties. So that does bump up Tapia, does bump up McMahon and Blackman as well. I know McMahon's batting 7th, and I know he's high salary, but Alvin, I have a really hard time not putting him towards the top of this list just because he's really good. And I mean, he's had 3 hard hit balls each of the past 2 games. Strikeouts have started to come back down for him. So I feel like I want to go McMahon first, even though he's batting low in the order once again. CJ Cron, I think, batting 5th. Yeah, 6th today. Okay, so whatever. 184 ISO, low strikeout rate, plenty of fly balls. I know he's a righty, but still feel pretty good about that. So let's put Logan Gilbert in as our pitcher because he's going to be my number 1 guy for today. Let's go to the Rockies and work through this stack here. There we go. Okay, Rockies. Let's go with McMahon, probably at second base, honestly, given the way things tend to work there. Let's go Cron at first base. Okay, I would like to get to Trevor Story. I'm not sure if I probably can with Gilbert, honestly. Yeah, it's actually not too hard. So we'll go Story there. And then we're deciding between Tapia, Blackman, Rogers, etc., etc. Tapia, a 127 ISO, 8 stolen bases. That's plenty of upside. He's definitely above Blackman for me. But is he above Hampson? 124 ISO, 6 stolen bases? Yeah, probably is, especially when we consider the fact that we do want to favor lefties versus Oviedo. And the other one we're considering is Brendan Rodgers, 128 and no steals. So to me, it's probably going to be Tapia as being that top guy among those other options. So I think this is probably my favorite core stack. It does mean you are using guys batting lower in the order with Cron and McMahon, but honestly, like, they've got upside. I think they're the best hitters in this team. So I'm going to go with this as the top 4 for the Rockies. Would probably go with Hampson over Blackman. I know Blackman is like the bigger name, but I just feel like Hampson has the better upside. And Hampson's a good salary too, so that does help. Rogers would be below Blackman for me, given the platoon splits against Oviedo. So it's kind of a weird ranking based on the way their lineup shook out, but I still feel good about it for today, just based on I feel good about the upside in Cron and McMahon. Let's talk to William. I play Monkey Knife Fight as well, so that's why I asked if he would get 5.5 or because strikeouts mean a lot. They mean a lot on FanDuel too, so I think it's good to emphasize that regardless. And I just don't see enough juice in the colors to get to feel good about going over 5.5. Let's see here. Mike, do you like Urias for today? I like Ramon Urias. Does that count for the Orioles if he winds up being in there? Luis Urias, kind of a tough spot facing the Nationals. He's a good pitcher. The problem is I think the Nationals are a good team versus lefties. 108 WRC plus. Urias, I think he's a good player. I just don't like the matchup that much. So to me, I'm probably not going to get there personally. I do like him, and I think he's a good pitcher, but I think the spot isn't quite good enough to get me up to his salary. I think he's $8,700 or somewhere in that range. He is 89. Okay. So, yeah, I'd rather just spend down. He's not bad. Just a tough matchup on the road. Enough factors where I'm okay being lower on him. Jason, do you like the A's and the Reds? A's are facing Eduardo Rodriguez. No, I think Eduardo Rodriguez is really good. I know the ERA is 5.83, which is bad, but low temperatures for today. I think Rodriguez is actually in play as a pitcher. He's my number 3 pitcher considering salary for today. So no A's for me. It's risky to use him, but I think that's worth the risk for today. Reds facing Alec Mills. Mills does a really good job of keeping batters on the ground. Allowed a 14% fly ball rate in his 3 starts since joining the rotation. So Reds and A's both lower on my list for today. Jared, how about Lopez from the Reds? 4 for 5 in his first start. I'm assuming this is Alejo Lopez. I used him last night the lineup came out like right after we were done. Got very lucky. Felt pretty good about it. He's not like the highest upside guy, but hey, he was at a good spot in the order, so I felt really good about him there. And good showing for him. Wheeler, more than 7.5 strikeouts today. They're not in the main slate, so I've not researched Wheeler, but in general, yes, he's very good. Chris Paddock, more than 17 putouts. Paddock is also not a main slate, so I've not researched him. He had a rough outing a couple days ago, so I've not researched those 2 guys in the interest of full transparency. Alvin, also does the line to put Astros over Rockies for you in stack rankings. So it's a weird lineup for the Astros, but it's not like what I would call a bad lineup, so I would still go with the Astros over the Rockies. It's just like, it's kind of a weird one to rank for DFS. So I'm not going to change too much based on that, but it's definitely an interesting one, is the way that I would phrase that. Let's talk to Jonathan. Is Paul Goldschmidt good against righties? So let's pull up the numbers here, check it out, and pull up the Cardinals numbers. The answer is yes, but we can go through the process of looking at it to see what numbers I'm emphasizing to come to that conclusion. To me, it's all about power, all about upside. And my dog is chewing on something. I'm not sure what it is, but I can hear it. She's chewing on something. I don't know what it is. It's very mischievous. Anyway, we'll worry about that later on. But Paul Goldschmidt, 201 ISO versus righties. Good results. Middle lane strikeout rate at 21%. The ISO there is high enough where I feel good about him. So I think that Paul Goldschmidt, definitely a guy you want to use for sure. Let's talk to Tim with the White Sox, Red Sox, Giants, and Montreal Canadiens win. I don't know hockey. Erin knows hockey. She's coming up after this, so I would talk to her. I don't know hockey. White Sox are facing, let's see here. They've got Casey Mize. I like their spot there. The Red Sox are facing the A's. That's more of a toss-up. I like both pitchers in that game. I think that Frankie Montas is really good. So going to hesitate on that one. And the Giants are facing Zach Gallen. Gallen does struggle a bit with lefties, which is why I couldn't quite get to him for DFS for today. But he's still a decent pitcher. So I would be a bit wary of that one. Let's talk to William. Do you feel like the Padres or Phillies more today? I don't know. It's not in the main slate, so I haven't researched it, but probably Phillies because Wheeler's pitching. Jerry, how would you rank the teams between Milwaukee, Toronto, and Cincinnati? Okay, so the Brewers are facing JT Brubaker. Does let up some fly balls, not a big strikeout guy, not a great park. Toronto, that game might not play, Jerry, so be wary of that. There is some rough weather in Buffalo for today. Toronto is facing off with Luis Patino, coming back up from AAA, pitched pretty well in AAA, so not super high on the Blue Jays for today. And the Reds are facing Alec Mills. Among those, I'd probably be highest on the Brewers, just because Brubaker does let up a good number of fly balls, followed by, I would guess, the Blue Jays just because of the Blue Jays, and then the Reds after that. Jerry gave a call on DeGrom getting hit. Now I'm calling Scherzer giving up a couple of runs tonight if the game plays. He did give up the 3-run digger, but then also had like 97 strikeouts because Jacob DeGrom's disgusting. Okay, so Jerry's liking the Dodgers against Scherzer. Scherzer has had a spin rate decline recently with the sticky stuff discussion going on. He's still been very effective, so I'm not looking for bats against him. 32% strikeout rate over his past 4 starts. Does let up fly balls for sure. But overall, I still think that we should feel good about Max Scherzer. So I think he's more in play for DFS and stacking against him. Let's talk to Conrad over on YouTube. Thoughts on the Pitt-Baltimore game as some cheap one-offs or mini stacks? I should say Pittsburgh. Pitt is the school. Pittsburgh is the city. Okay, Pittsburgh, Baltimore for some cheap one-offs or mini stacks. I do like Baltimore facing Griffin Canning. He lets up some impactful contact. It is risky because Canning gets enough whiffs where you do worry that he could potentially shut them down. So I do want to note that it is risky to use Baltimore, but I think it's worth that risk because they do have some good guys who can generate upside. Cedric Mullins specifically way undersalaried at $3,100. So like them a lot. Anthony Santander as always. And I mentioned Ramon Urias kind of as a joke, but also kind of not. I think he's fun. So I'm on board with them. Pittsburgh is facing Adrian Hauser. I just can't use anybody there. 17% fly ball rate against Hauser over his past 4 starts. So no Pirates, but I'm on board with the Orioles for today. Tim, minus Canadians since just baseball talk. Yeah, so I think the other ones, Red Sox, the diciest of those options, followed by the Giants. But White Sox, I'd feel pretty good about. Let's see here. JT Brubaker, I am really looking to use to go at against. Thoughts? Yeah, so again, it's mostly about the park and also the weather. It's 67 degrees in Pittsburgh for today. Not a great park for hitting to begin with. The Brewers still just okay versus righties. So I think that we have better options from a stacking perspective. But hey, the Brewers bring some salary relief. Let's check out their lineup here and see if they have as many salary savers as they did last night. Because if they do, that could be kind of interesting. They've got Luis Urias batting leadoff. So we'll talk about all the Uriases for today. Adames batting third, Omar Narvaez batting fourth. It's a pretty good lineup, honestly. It's the same as last night. In fact, it actually might be the exact same. No, Urias wasn't in there last night. It was Wong. I don't think it's the worst idea, DJ, because they've got some value. They've got some guys with upside, but I do still think that it's more of like a middling option. Clint, thoughts on the Brew Crew? Okay, really good question and really good timing. Clint just talked about that. So hopefully that answered your question, Clint, as we were talking about them there. I think that they're an option for today. Not super high on my list, but one I would be willing to consider. William, do you think the Kansas City and Twins game put up some more than 10 runs today together? So we've got Brady Singer versus Jay Happ. That game is in Kansas City. It's very warm, 84 degrees. 10 is a lot. So I don't think I'd look towards the over, but I'm not taking the under because Jay Happ lets up a lot of impactful contact. The Royals they have some guys who can punish you, and their lineup is out. So let's pull up the Royals lineup here for today. Jorge Soler second, Salvador Perez batting fourth, Hanser Alberto batting fifth. I'm not super into him. That's high in the order. Hunter Dozier sixth, Michael Taylor seventh, and Edward Olivares eighth. I was hoping Olivares would slide a little bit higher in the order. Didn't wind up happening. So it's a little bit disappointing, but let's pull up the Royals numbers here versus righties and check out Alberto, because I wasn't super into Hanser Alberto last time I checked into him, but that was a couple weeks ago, I think. So maybe things have gotten better there. Alberto 066 ISO versus lefties. He doesn't strike out, which is good, but still have a hard time for me getting super jazzed about him. So not going to use Alberto despite the good spot in the batting order. That's a tougher sell for me. So I probably would not take the over on 10 for the Royals and the Twins. Jason likes the Dodgers today too. Okay, so Jerry, you've got someone with you on the Dodgers for today. If this means stacking, again, I'm not going to get there. I would caution against it personally because Scherzer doesn't let up enough balls in play for us to stack against him. I think that it's a 14-game slate. You got ways to be different without, stacking against Max Scherzer. But hey, Jerry, you've got a compatriot there in Jason. Let's talk to Michael. Toronto Angels stack with Urias sound good. So again, a little bit worried about Urias because the matchup is tough. The Nationals, pretty good versus lefties, not a super high strikeout team. He's on the road, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not super into Urias for today from a pitching perspective, and I do want to spend a little bit less. Again, Logan Gilbert, pretty good option for me. Angels stack I am okay with for sure. Facing Keegan Aiken. Aiken is someone who can definitely let up some impactful contact. I didn't mention him in stacks this morning, or the Angels in stacks, but that's because they're probably like the fourth ranked high salaried stack. If I'm ranking out high salaried stacks versus low salaried stacks, I would say Cardinals 1, not Astros. Rockies 2, Astros 3, Angels 4 among the high salaried stacks. And then looking at the Orioles and the Royals among the lower salaried stacks for today. So the Angels number 4 for me from a stacking perspective among the higher salaried ones for this one. Let's talk to Michael. Who do you like in a St. Louis stack? Let's see if the lineup is out. It might be because that is an 8 p.m. game. And see if we can. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Cardinals. Perfect timing on that stack, or on that lineup release. Okay, so Tommy Edman batting 6th, Yadier Molina 5th, Tyler O'Neill. Okay, so we have a general idea of who is batting where for the Royals. I think Dylan Carlson's actually going to wind up being pretty high on my list just because he's $3,400, which is very forgiving for someone who I think has solid upside. At Coors Field for today, batting leadoff, $3,400. Let's sort here by plate appearances versus righties. Let's clear out the Rockies guys and keep Gilbert in there because I do think that he's going to be a focal point for today. Okay. Edman is more of a high upside guy versus lefties from a hitting perspective. He does steal bases versus righties, but from a true power perspective, he's not going to grade out as well. So I think Arenado, revenge game, Goldschmidt, Carlson, and O'Neill probably going to be the top options here. I think so. The top 4 guys in the order actually might just be how we wind up ranking these guys. Cardinals there. So let's go with Goldie. Let's go with Arenado. Let's go with O'Neill and Carlson. And after we do that, we have $29.75 left. So you do have to potentially pair them with a lower salaried stack if you want to do that. If you're trying to save a bit, maybe you bump off of Arenado and go down to, let's check out Molina's numbers versus righties. 126 ice, so that's actually not as high as I was hoping it might be. Edman batting 6th, I believe. Let's check out Paul DeJong's numbers since he came off the injured list because shortstop has been kind of tough to fill at times. Let's check out what he's been doing recently. Had a lot of injuries so far this year, so I care a bit more about the current form. with regards to DeYoung, just because I do want to see if he's been improving of late. Okay, so if we go overall since he came back, strikeout rate 29%, 155 ISO. That's not terrible. The StatCast numbers on him in that time since he came back. Average exit velocity of 84.2, 7.7% barrel rate. But he's been hitting the ball harder recently, I guess. 2 hard hit balls last night. Had a couple there as well. So let's just go past 2 weeks on 2 weeks-ish, because I don't actually know when 2 weeks ago was, on DeYoung. That is still about the same. So I feel like I would try to do this and then use maybe the Royals as a second stack because their salaries are pretty low. So that's where I'd be looking for there. Okay, so I got a question from Matt. I'm actually going to jump ahead to that. Matt on Facebook, who is the best value pitcher for today? To me, that guy is Logan Gilbert. And the reason is that he's pretty good. He's got some strikeout upside, 26% strikeout rate overall across his 8 starts. He had a rough beginning to things here. Tough, a couple of tough outings. My goodness. Okay, couple tough outings against Cleveland and Detroit, but then he's had a lot of tough teams since then. Top 10 teams versus righties and WRC plus, but he's been good. Specifically, the strikeouts have been there. If you look at the past 4 starts against the Angels, Cleveland, Tampa Bay, and Chicago, his strikeout rate is 30%. That is one of the better marks on this slate. 3.33 skill interactive ERA, low walk rate, low hard hit rate against, good matchup versus Texas. It's a good park in general as well. So to me, the best value pitcher for today is Logan Gilbert, but he's also the best pitcher overall. So I do like Logan Gilbert a lot from a pitching perspective for today, and he will be my top guy for today. Let's go back to DJ on Facebook. Thoughts on Singer versus Minnesota. Not enough strikeouts for me to be super enthused about him, but he's been better recently because he's been leaning more on his slider. This is his past 5 starts. Strikeout rate is up to 24%. Getting better, but still not quite enough for me. I rank him below Gilbert, below Montas, and below Rodriguez for today from a pitching perspective. Let's talk to Conrad. Sonny Gray an option? Are you worried coming back from an injury? So he went 53 pitches in his rehab start last week, which means he'll probably be 70 to 75. That's not enough for me. So no Sonny Gray for me for today. DJ, stack Seattle versus Texas. If so, who? I would not. Gilbert is the guy, stack Seattle against Gibson. Now, Gibson doesn't let up enough hard contact, so I'll avoid that one. Let's talk to Sterling on YouTube. Tatis Jr., Jose Altuve, Ohtani, and Vlad Jr., all to hit a home run. I love it, Sterling. If that's a parlay, I'd be very nervous. That's a lot of things to tie together, but good luck to you if that is the case there. DJ, let's see here. He's asking about, okay, so let's talk to Trappa. How do you feel about Baltimore in the Angels game going over 9.5? I don't mind that one, actually. Of the totals we've been talking about so far today, I feel like that'd be my favorite one, in part because I think both these offenses should be in a pretty good position. I mentioned the Angels before against Keegan Aiken, but also talked about the Orioles against Griffin Canning. I think that all sets up pretty well. I think that if I were looking at this game, though, what I might be more inclined to look at is the Angels' individual team total. Let's see what their implied total is. 5.34. I feel like the overall total for that game is probably the most attractive market. 76 degrees is not like the best temperature betting it over, but I do like both sides in that game. So, Trappa, I'm okay with that one personally. Let's talk to Sterling. Angels game is going over 9.5 based off how they played since last Saturday. So there we go. Okay, so Sterling is on board with you, Trappa. Michael, who are you prioritizing in a Houston stack? So I'm assuming that Chas McCormick is in there. I've not seen their lineup as of yet. Let's refresh one more time and see if we can get it. No, not yet. Okay, so from a prioritization perspective, that to me says I am accounting for salary. And that to me says I'm going to try to get Chas McCormick in there because he is $2,400 on a slate where I want to save salary. So we'll go with McCormick. Probably going to want Gurriel, given the salary savings. We'll do that. And then most likely Altuve and Correa. Let's see if we can fit that in. I know Correa didn't play yesterday and should be good to go for today. 35.75 left means you're not going to get like Arenado, Goldschmidt, et cetera, but that to me is going to be the optimal stack for the Astros. Again, we have to make sure that McCormick is in there, but based on Alvarez hitting the paternity list, I think we should be good to go. MMXI, Gallo is extremely hot. How is Gilbert the best overall pitcher? Joey Gallo is one player in a full lineup that has an 89 WRC plus versus righties. There's more than one guy in the lineup. Robert, is Gray indeed pitching? I haven't seen anything different. Let me scroll over here and check out, but I've also been talking to you guys for half an hour, so there's been an update. I have not seen it. Baltimore going to give up hits. I agree. Let's see here. Let's talk to Jason. Who do you like in a White Sox stack? Not super eager to stack the White Sox. I think that I'm not using mine as a pitcher. He's definitely declined since the spin rate discussion popped up. 19% strikeout rate, 50% hard hit rate. So you could definitely justify stacking against them. They're just a little bit lower on my list. But of those options, I know Sheets batting second is someone I'm open to using. Had pretty good numbers for when I was looking before. Brian Goodwin also, I think, is a bit underrated. So I would say probably focusing on these top 6 guys, or top 5 guys, I should say. Jake Berger's not in the FanDuel player pool for today. I'm happy to see him in the big leagues because he had I think 2 AC, or not 2, I think Achilles tears potentially. It was rough. So I'm glad that he's here. He's just not in the FanDuel player pool. So I would say the top 5 guys in the White Sox are the main ones to focus on there. Alvin, for single entry, top 3 stacks. So let's check out the implied totals here to see who is projecting to be popular. So we can get a read on that. And then we can kind of decide, okay, how we need to pivot based on that. So the Rockies, Cardinals. So the Astros are a bit lower on this list. So Alvin, I would say pick your favorite between the 2 Coors teams. I'd probably lean towards St. Louis. I think that there's enough there where we can feel good about them, despite the fact that they are going to be popular. I would say Gilbert pitcher, Cardinals stack, Astros stack. They'll be popular, but that's okay for me for today. DJ, is Patino a starter or opener for the Rays? He will probably be going as being the primary pitcher. He would go decently deep earlier. He's probably going to be around 80 or so pitches is what I have here based on what he did in AAA leading into this. I think it was like 75 or so in his final AAA start, so he should be the primary pitcher for today. Trappa, do you like Seattle at home for tonight? If we're talking about this from a DFS perspective, I like Logan Gilbert a lot as a pitcher for today. So I think that, I'm on board with them. William, do you really think the Rockies and Cardinals put the 12.5 runs? I mean, I don't know. I'm not talking about from a betting perspective. We're talking DFS here. So I like them a lot for stacking specifically. MMXI. Okay, the Rockies lineup the Astros lineup is in, and there's no Gurriel. Oh my goodness. This is terrible. Well, it's not actually terrible. I don't love using him. I just like him more against lefties. Okay, so Altuve, Correa, McCormick batting 5th. Oh my goodness, this is great. Taylor Jones. All right, that's a loophole or a loop for us. So the Astros might actually be a value stack? ? Let's pull up their numbers versus lefties here. I'm actually going to go back to the FanDuel player pool and refresh this thing and see what we are working with here. While I'm refreshing this, I got a question from Clint. Do you see the Braves teeing off on Lopez? No, Lopez is very good. Do not see that happening personally. Okay, so I did not refresh the Astros player pool here. Taylor Jones is in the FanDuel player pool. He is minimum salary. So let's pull up his numbers here and see if we can get excited about this guy versus a lefty. Okay. Taylor Jones in AAA this year, 224 ISO. That works. In AAA back in 2019, it was a 210 ISO with 22 dingers. That's not too bad. Honestly, I'm into it. Okay. The Astros, a value stack? ? I kind of think they are. Let's see what Abraham Toro's done versus lefties. He's a switch hitter. So just 15 plate appearances. Let's expand the sample and go back to last year as well. Let's just look at his overall splits versus lefties and see what he has done. Try to get a read on whether we should go at him for today. And let's go to versus lefties. 67 plate appearances, 067 ISO. That's not quite enough for me to be in on Toro. So I would say in terms of stacking the Astros, Altuve, Correa, McCormick, Taylor Jones. I think that Tucker is actually pretty good against lefties too, if I recall correct. He's missed a lot of time this year, so I guess it is 117 plate appearances, but 179 ISO, that's enough. So I would say Tucker's up there, but if you're looking to save salary, both McCormick and Jones are guys I am fully comfortable using. So Astros, weirdly kind of a value stack for today. That is all that we have from a DFS perspective for today, but we got to talk some more betting because tomorrow is game number 6 between the Hawks and the Bucks, and here to preview that is Erin Dolan. She's going to break down her thoughts on that game coming up tomorrow. Erin, welcome into the broadcast. Happy Friday. How you doing today?
Happy Friday. Good. Almost to the holiday weekend. Bringing it home now.
Yes, I've got my red shirt on. As
I guess I have blue on too. We didn't even think.
There we go.
This is
I have blue shorts
white,
on,
so I think that we kind of got all
I have
the
blue
colors.
shorts on as well. Like we're full out here.
I actually have gray sweatpants, so
it was not intentional. I must say I realized that like I had red and blue on later on. I was like, oh, I look like a dork, but no one can see me, so who cares? Like it doesn't really matter either way. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Game 6 tomorrow?
So Game 6, I'm going with the Bucks to upset, surprise everybody. I think they can get it done. I'm not crazy confident in it, but I'm going to take them on the money line tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm going to let you break that down. Erin, thank you.
I will. Have a great weekend.
And have a great weekend. Yeah, you too. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hello. How are we doing? I can't believe that it is July 4th weekend. Now I feel like the summer is starting to fly by because we can finally get out of our houses and everything. But as Jim said, yesterday, of course, was Game 5. We have Game 6 going on tomorrow in the Eastern Conference Finals between the Hawks and the Bucks. Quickly, just want to kind of go over what happened in yesterday's game. So as we know, the Bucks won 123-112. They did not have Giannis in this game. Trae Young was also out. So Trae Young was questionable, like we talked about yesterday, but ended up not playing. Kind of like I mentioned that it wasn't a do or die situation. I thought they were going to sit him. Now for the upcoming game, we're not sure of his status just yet. And we don't have markets available on the FanDuel Sportsbook for Trae Young just yet. As for Giannis, I'm assuming he's going to be out. But a lot of the players for the Bucks stepped up. Bobby Portis, 22 points. Brook Lopez, 33. Chris Middleton, 26. Jrue Holiday, 25. Obviously, Brook Lopez absolutely showing how dominant he was in the paint yesterday. There was just no defense for the Atlanta Hawks. Nate McMillan actually said that he doesn't know where their defense went in yesterday's game. But the Bucks jumped out to a good lead. And then, as always, like I say, when the Bucks have a lead, we're not too confident that they're going to be able to maintain that. That's one thing that I've noticed when betting on the Bucks in general is just they'll go out to a lead and they're not able to sustain it. And this, obviously, we know they got the win 123-112, but there were moments when it was back down to single digits between these two teams. But let's get to some of the questions right off the bat. William Andrew Mang, do you see Middleton getting 28 plus points in Game 6? So he should be able to do it. His points prop is at 27.5 right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook. But my one issue with Chris Middleton is I want to say take the over there, 27.5. But at the same time, and he did play well in Atlanta the last time, or actually I should say in Game 3 when he scored 38 points, led the team there. But then in Game 4, he followed up with 16 points. So for me, I feel like 27.5 is really high. And I feel like his numbers in particular are inflated just given that Giannis is not going to be in this game. So yes, like I mentioned, 27.5 over -118, under -104. For some reason, I feel the under on this because some of the other players had to step up and kind of get those points in Game 5, and they're going to have to do that same thing in Game 6. So for me, I kind of like the under on the Chris Middleton prop for me in this game. Sorry, I'm trying to see. That comment came in twice. Okay, so let's kind of just keep going with some of the recap that I just wanted to do. Just wanted to answer that question quickly. And again, you guys can comment on whatever platform you're watching this on, and I will try to answer all of your questions. Let's go through some of the stats. So the Bucks, again, not shooting great from beyond the arc, 31% there. But the 3x2 did cash. If you took that on the FanDuel Sportsbook, that's 2 3-pointers made in the first 3 minutes. That was plus 150 for yesterday's game. So if you got that, great promotion. Great thing to cash yesterday. Both teams doing well from field goal percentage and free throws kind of the same there. As for turnovers, 14 for the Hawks, Bucks 8. So as we know, the Bucks lead the series 3-2, which as I said during yesterday's show, when we were talking about the series prices, that if you wanted to take the Bucks to win the series, you wanted to take them yesterday. It was -132, I believe, before the game. It moved up from -116 when I was talking about it on the show. It's now Bucks -360, Hawks plus 290. Now, if you think they're going to win the next game and force a game 7, you're going to want to take the Hawks now. Do not take the Bucks minus 360. There's no value there. But if you do believe in the Hawks, this is where you want to take them now. Also, in terms of team futures, if you do like the Hawks 12-1, better take that now, because if they do win game 6, that's going to come down. And then if you think this is going to go to a game 7, just wait till after this game tomorrow night if you think the Hawks are going to win, and the Bucks will move back as well in terms of the NBA championship. But we have the Suns minus 190. That's moved down from minus 200. Again, the Suns will play either the Bucks or the Hawks. Suns back in it for the first time since 1993. So a lot going on in terms of these markets. And there's always the one thing with betting is a perfect time to try to bet into it. Like I mentioned right now, Hawks, if you think they're going to win it all, if you think they're going to win it all, you can take them 12-1 right now. You should also take them plus 290 on the series price, because this will change, like I just mentioned, after game 6 if they win. I'm going with the Bucks in this game. Take them on the money line plus 120 right now. I think that the Bucks figure out a way to have some magic and get this done, especially after last game. A lot of the conversation actually is around, do the Bucks play better without Giannis, which is an absolute ridiculous theory in my eyes, because Trae Young wasn't in this game, and I think he probably would have lit it up if he was in this game. As for the spread, though, the Hawks opened minus 1.5, which was kind of surprising to a lot of people. I know I tweeted that out. We're figuring that Trae Young could potentially play in this game, which is definitely factoring to the line. And then, as you can see, the line has moved out over the last 24 hours to Hawks minus 2.5. And then we'll take a look at the total in just a little bit. William Andrew also asking, how do you feel about, I'm assuming you mean Bogdanovich, 18 plus points. Get to his points prop. So I'm assuming you're talking about this player, Bogdan, right? Yeah, it has to be that. All right, 17.5 for him. He could potentially hit over that. Let me find what he's averaging right now. He led the team 28 points. He's averaging 14 points. So I like the under on this one, to be honest. I know it's minus 116. But a lot of these numbers, again, are inflated, and you can see that there's not every single solitary Atlanta Hawks player available right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook, and that is because we're still waiting to see the status of Trae Young. And then when Trae Young, if he is factored in, the points prop markets can change as well, because obviously you're going to expect some of these players to have higher points and set those lines higher if Trae Young is not going to be in. While we're here at the points props, we might as well go through some of the other notes that I have. For John Collins, he's averaging 14 points. His is at 15.5, as I mentioned with Bogdanovich. He is at 17.5, averaging 14 points. Kevin Huerter, he is averaging 11 points. His is at 12.5. So as you can see, all three of these player props are inflated right now because we don't know the status of Trae Young. While we're looking at these, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Brooke Lopez. So Chris Middleton, 27.5, already kind of covered that. For some reason, I do like the under on that. For Drew Holiday, his is set at 23.5. He's averaging 22 points, 21 points. And then Brooke Lopez is averaging 15 points. So if you think Brooke Lopez is going to have another great game, I would definitely take the over on this player prop. But the one concern for me is that if the Atlanta Hawks try to figure out how to shut him down in this game, knowing how many points he did put up in the paint, I'm assuming that their strategy is going to shift to that, which might leave Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton available around the perimeter and kind of hitting some of those threes. So maybe you want to look at some of the made threes for some of these players. That might be the way to go. I think this Clint Capella literally just popped up as we're talking here. I don't know if someone just caught that, but I think that just popped up or else I'm seeing things. Clint Capella over 10.5. That's what they're putting that at. PJ Tucker 5.5. All right. All right, guys. Well, let's get into some of the. Sorry, Will, I'm coming back to you. How do you feel about Brooke Lopez getting 16 plus points? He scares me a lot. Again, 15.5 right here. I think it's possible that he's going to be able to do that. But of course, that number inflated before in the other games. People were, before last game in particular in the series, a lot of people saying that he was washed up, wasn't doing much for the team. But obviously, it seems that everything was probably centered around Giannis, as it should be. He's a two-time MVP, obviously the Greek freak, and the majority of the points are going to come from him on the floor. So I think that without Giannis, it makes a lot of sense to take him over his points props. I think even if they are able to have the Atlanta Hawks be able to shut him down, he should still be able to get up over that amount of points. So I hope that answers your question. Let's go through where we're seeing the money so far for this game. So if you go to numberFire.com, look at the odds. You'll see here. So as for the spread, we're getting a little split there. 53% of the money is on Milwaukee to cover. Of course, they are an underdog in this spot right now. For Milwaukee money line, also plus money, 57% of the money, 62% of the bets. As for the over, 74% of the money and the bets are on that. Now, in doing my research, there's a few things, you're welcome, Will, that you can look at if you go to covers. This is something that I really enjoy doing. If you go to a matchup, for example, for the NBA, we can go here and we can look at the trends. Now, the cool thing they have is hot trends are 80% or higher, cold trends 20% or lower. So the Bucks are 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 games, playing on 1 day's rest. I'm not sure if that trend's something I would necessarily be thrilled about and be like, oh my gosh, I need to take the Bucks because of this against the spread. But as for the Hawks, 4-0 against the spread, last 4 games as a favorite. But remember, in majority of the games, they were not favored in this series or the previous series against Philadelphia. Hawks are 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 playoff games as a favorite, 18-3 against the spread in their last 21 games as a home favorite. So this is a huge trend for me. That screams a lot like, Erin, you definitely should be taking the Hawks. But again, I'm riding with the Bucks. I already said it, standing by my words, as I always do. As for the total trends, under, a lot of these Flames, under. I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but if you go to covers, you can read through some of them yourself. Head-to-head, the under is 5-0 in the last 5 meetings in Atlanta. Something to keep in mind. Plus, if we don't have Giannis in this game, and if we are unable to have Trae Young as well, it does seem like an under would be the way to go. But again, this is a game 6, so it might be high scoring. But yeah, the covers is a great place to go to look at some of the trends. And then obviously OddsFire, like I mentioned, a great place you can go look at money. You can do that for basically anything. If you want to look at the MLB games that are on the slate for today, you can go and look down the money for there. Same thing with the NHL. And we should probably talk a little bit about this game in a couple minutes. But let me answer some more questions. William again saying, can Clint Capella get 11 rebounds in game 6? Let me quickly just look at one thing. Average rebounds. I go to Stat News and I put in average rebounds for Clint Capella in the last 5 games. He's had 11 average per game. So let's just quickly go. Play rebounds, Clint Capella. Over 10.5, that seems pretty feasible there. Plus, as you know, he's going to be down there, down low. So makes a lot of sense there to take 11. If you want to get a little risky and think he's going to have 12, you could take him plus 114 to have 12 at 10 plus rebounds. He's minus 220. So to me, that screams minus 220 in this market, that he's most likely going to get over 10 plus rebounds. Odds makers think that. So for them to set the line at over 10.5, because obviously you'd have to hit 11 for that market to hit anyways, at minus 122, better value there, because obviously you're going to have to hit 11. But if you want to get a little risky, I would take him plus 12 rebounds, plus 114. I try to get any of the player props I possibly can at plus money. I know it's hard because I don't even like laying minus 120. As you guys know, I always do my dogs of the day because I like plus money, because why not? I know you're saying last question, can Holiday get double-digit 10 plus assists again? Let's see if they have them up yet. Player combos. Holiday points plus. Wait, last one. Can Holiday get double-digit 10 plus assists again? Sorry, I thought you were saying the points plus assists. That's a 34.5. As for just double-digit 10 plus assists, minus 180. I would never lay that. I would never take that minus 180. For me, I don't know if I would take that. I would probably not. I feel like sometimes when you have like a Chris Middleton, a Drew Holiday, they're most likely shooting the ball and not assisting as much, but could be. I would take probably 12 assists plus 162 if you do think that's going to get over 10 plus assists anyways. I definitely would not take it minus 180 by any means. Let me just quickly see what. It's at 10. I would take over actually 10.5 right here. Plus 108. You're still getting a plus money there if you don't feel comfortable taking 12 plus. Well, betting. I would definitely be betting on the FanDuel Sportsbook. All right. let's now switch it over to, before we do that, I also wanted to mention that this was a great same game parlay that hit last night. Brooke Lopez to score 25 plus points. Chris Middleton to record 12 plus rebounds. Drew Holiday 12 plus assists. We just talked about the assists. He seemed to have hit that last night, so maybe he will again. Again, great value there. These odds were great. $100 won $21,124 and a penny, if that penny mattered to you. This is a great same game parlay, and as you know, same game parlays are unique to FanDuel. And you can find them when you click into a game, same game parlay. Go through some of these. Anything that have the SGP next to it, you can add into it. And it's just a very unique thing that FanDuel has. Super cool. And people love to bet the same game parlays. All right, let's switch it over to some NHL. Now, I'm not a huge... let me take that back. I am a huge hockey fan, but if my team, the Flyers, are not in it, I'm not going to be sitting and watching every game 100% of the time. Obviously, I know we have game 3. Tampa Bay Lightning are up 2 games in the series. The Canadiens are going home. I love the Canadiens tonight on the money line, plus 114. To me, I know it's not technically do or die, but it is. You can't have the Tampa Bay Lightning take 3 games. The Canadiens also always play well at home. This is a team that I've taken multiple times as the dog of the day, especially when they're playing at home. So I think this is that's kind of my pick for today. A lot of the trends as well towards the under. Why don't we go to covers, look at some of the trends. Lightning are 6-1 in their last 7 Stanley Cup Finals games. Obviously, since if they win this, they're going to be the repeat champs. For the Canadiens, 10-2 in their last 12 games, playing on 1 day's rest, 5-1 in their last 6 home games. Like I mentioned, they are great at home, which is why I'm taking them as my dog of the day on the money line. As for the trends, for the total, as I mentioned, under trends, same thing for the Canadiens, under. The total right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook, 5.5 for this game. Head-to-head trends, Lightning are 14-3 in the last 17 meetings. Under is 4-0 in the last 4 meetings in Montreal. So things to take into account. But again, this is the playoffs, so a lot of trends do indeed go out the window. There are some fun markets for this. You can do the player props, score props, period props, game props. One in particular, let me go through some of these. First goal scorers. This is something I wanted to bring up. Nikita Kucherov, I think I'm saying that correctly, 11-1. He had 2 goals in game 1. And just to mention, the Canadiens only have 2 goals this entire series. They got blown out in that first game, but he did have 2 goals. So I kind of liked that value there. Again, I'm not the biggest hockey bettor. It's not something that I love to do. I'm obviously going to watch an NBA game over an NHL game. But just in general, a lot of great markets if you want to bet into this. Let me see if they have a series price as well. Yeah, the Tampa Bay Lightning minus 1250, Canadiens plus 850. A lot of things just screaming Tampa Bay Lightning. You can still bet on the series handicap if you think the Lightning are going to win by a game and a half, but that's minus 400. You're not going to bet that. Canadiens plus 310. I don't even know if that has great value because the Canadiens, it looks like to me this is going to be kind of a 4-1 type of series. Tampa Bay Lightning get it done. But this is really cool. You can bet on the series total game. So if you do think, for example, the Canadiens are going to win this game and then Tampa Bay Lightning are going to be able to close it out on their home ice for some reason, you could do 4 games plus 185, 5 games plus 200, 6 games, 7 games, and so on. So that is good value there. And then if you do the series correct score, like I just said, Tampa Bay Lightning 4-1 in my eyes, you could do plus 200. That's still great value. But sometimes I know that we're used to betting into the traditional markets in terms of just the spread, the total, the money lines of the player props that we like. But you can also find a lot of really cool markets if you start digging. I know that takes some effort here, but there is great value in some other markets as well, such as, like I just mentioned, the series total games and series correct scores. That game is going on tonight. That's game 3, the Stanley Cup Finals, going back to Montreal. Tampa Bay up 2 games. As we know, they won last year. They could repeat this year. Pretty exciting stuff. You could also bet on player futures as well, but I'm not going to get into all of these because most likely, and to be quite frank, I can't pronounce all these names. Hockey names are pretty tough. All right, let's get back to some of the NBA. And if there's any other questions, Ben Olney, hopefully I'm saying that right, think Hawks can win tomorrow. I do. but I'm taking the Bucks because I think the Bucks have some type of magic to pull it off. I just keep going back to that game 7 in the Barclays Center when I completely doubted them, and they actually have the chance to close it out. Another reason why I do believe this is because if you go to team futures, you see the Bucks plus 200 and in the series minus 360. So this was kind of the same format and position that the Suns were in. They were able to finish off the series, even though some people thought the Clippers could force a game 7. I think the Bucks will be able to do it, and then we'll be having a totally different conversation. Should the Bucks have to play the Suns? Sorry, I'm kind of bouncing around all here. Should the Bucks have to play the Suns, we'll be talking about how that series would go, because again, we really need to know how long Giannis is going to be out and unavailable for. And as for the Hawks, obviously always a potential to force a game 7. I just think it's kind of in favor of the Bucks right now, and they'll be able to figure it out. You guys should comment below too if you have any takes of what you think is going to happen, who you think is going to win, and any picks that you guys like for that game. Lots of player props available. Tomorrow there'll be more odds boosts available, I'm sure, for this game 6 as well. Normal promotions also going on per usual. Oh, look at this. The 4th MLB risk-free same game parlay. Love to see it. NBA playoff enhanced odds we have going on. Some other things, NHL correct score, bonus, Euros, parlay insurance. There's a ton of promotions going on in that, and you should take advantage of all that while you can. But again, tomorrow I'm sure there's going to be some boosts going up, but waiting for tomorrow. Tell me this is not gonna, I'm losing connection here. All right. Any other questions that you guys? Ben only, I know you're saying Olney. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Trey could come back though. Yes, he absolutely could. But again, I was looking up things yesterday about a bone bruise and how long it takes. It says it takes 1 to 2 months to heal when it's that bad of a bone bruise. I don't know how bad it truly is because I'm not Trey Young. And I think they would have played him last game had it actually not been bothering him. Even for, let's say, half the game, it would have been a great advantage to have him just in for at least 2 quarters, go out, score a bunch of points, and then kind of have the Bucks try to, not be able to take that huge lead. And the Hawks just looked honestly discombobulated without him. But Trey can come back, and we know Trey can put up points. He's averaging 33 in this series. I'm sure his player prop will still be high. I just don't know how injured he is. Trey Young is a player, if rolled in, you should probably live bet this game, to be honest, because we don't know how he's going to look. The Bucks could come out hot again. They could go out to a 20-point lead, and I'd still not feel confident that they'd be able to sustain that. But I just think with Trey potentially coming back, maybe you want to live bet that if you do think the Hawks are going to win, because we truly don't know how he is looking right now. And from a bone bruise, I didn't take it that seriously, and I thought he would have played yesterday's game, or maybe since it's not a do or die, like I said on the show, they would just sit him for one game. But after reading about a bone bruise and seeing 1 to 2 months to heal that, I was a tad concerned, which is why yesterday I was on the Bucks. Any other questions, guys? We have 2 more minutes. Please drop any other questions. I'm excited. Game 6 is tomorrow. We have the NHL tonight. We have a full slate of MLB going on. MLB is not my favorite. There are so many games today. We have 4th of July weekend, which is super exciting. You'll be able to spend some time with the family, play some bets. Soccer is going on right now. We have some golf going on as well. If you want to do the Rocket Mortgage Classic, I know a lot of the talk right now is on Bryson DeChambeau. He might be missing the cut. So a lot of things were kind of breaking today. I thought it would be a really slow Friday, but a lot of things going on, especially in the sports world. So I'm excited for the weekend. I hope you guys are excited for it as well. Again, any last questions, please comment them below. We'll be doing these live streams starting next Tuesday. We're all not going to be doing it for Monday, the 4th. Is Monday the 4th? I think that's the 5th, actually. Maybe we're taking off yes, okay. We're celebrating it on Monday, even though it is on a Sunday. All right, guys. Well, have a great holiday weekend. Hopefully this helped. We will be back Tuesday. Jim Sanos will do the whole MLB DFS. I will come back on, and we'll probably at that point be talking about all things NBA Finals. Excited for that. Casual World, I'm sorry. I know you're just popping on. I joined late. Did you talk about today's MLB games? I did not, but Jim Sanos, who's on before, does come on and talk all things MLB. If there's a specific question, I can always look it up for you. But again, MLB is not my favorite sport to be betting on. So I'd rather help you out with some NBA and some hockey before I help you out with that. But anyways, guys, have a great weekend. And yeah, see you next Tuesday.